Saturn return is not exactly as I predicted it would be, but it's pretty literal to what is playing out in the natal chart. Saturn, all about restrictions, delays, boundaries, invisible walls that we can't get through. It's also about maturity, lessons, and adulthood. What are the serious things, the consequences that you have to think about as you reach maturity? Well, let me tell you, I am experiencing all of that right now, and I am here to tell the tale. I am alive and available, and I am going to share this with you and document the adventure in this new series here on YouTube, the Saturn Return Diaries. This is my first ever video of my new vlog series, which I'm calling the Saturn Return Diaries. I'm going to be taking you along the adventure as I live around the world. I don't think I've given you guys a life update on what's been happening in my life. If you've been following me on my main channel, Helena Woods, you guys know that I pressed pause indefinitely on that channel and feel like there's a new thing in my life that is coming. And I'm not exactly sure what it is yet, but I am in the unknown. I'm literally living in this place of the in-between of not knowing what's coming next, but also so ready for whatever it is. And what I feel called to do during this time, and it's interesting because it's just reflected in my Saturn return story, is travel the world endlessly. To all of my astrocartography clients, to write a book, to document the journey. Let's just jump right in, shall we? My French visa was denied for the first time in 6 years. Alex, my husband, and I, we moved to France in 2018 to see what life was like in another part of the world. I love America, I love the United States, I love Americans, but to be honest, our values, both in terms of healthcare and education and just the systems and structures in the United States, are not what we value personally in our own lives. And so in 2018, we moved to France. And I've talked about this at length in my other videos, which I'll include here if you want to watch our story and listen to the story of us moving abroad and leaving the United States and moving to Europe and all of that. But I have to say, after being here for 6 years, I cannot even fathom, even comprehend moving back to the United States. I really can't. All this to say, I don't want to leave. And my husband and I have worked so hard for going on 6 years now to eventually have a chance of immigrating here and like living here and actually calling this our home forever, getting citizenship, getting residency. My husband has a whole blog and course and ebook that he's written, all this content he's created about how to help people move to France, to leave the United States and teach English if that's something they wanted to do. I'll include a link to his blog and YouTube channel down below if moving to France is something of interest to you. But as a spouse, as a wife, as someone that doesn't have a job contract here, and I have to renew a tourist visa every year and go through the paperwork and the admin and all these hoops, it's been a challenge. And it was only this year where there is now a new law in France that says that the partner has to financially provide for the spouse 2.5 times over. Because he doesn't make enough money as an English teacher to prove this new law, to prove that he can provide for both of us well over, I cannot renew my visa. I have to leave. And what's fascinating about this is intuitively, I've always sensed that something about my Saturn return would be either traveling alone or writing or some sort of making something, creation in some way, self-expression being a huge theme because Saturn natally is in my 5th house of entertainment, romance, hobbies, self-expression, creativity. And that's something really important to predict your own Saturn return, is to understand, where is your natal Saturn in your chart? What house is it in? What area of life is it in? And also where are the rulers of Saturn? For example, Capricorn and Aquarius. Where are Capricorn and Aquarius in your chart? Those 3 houses, those 3 areas of life are connecting the bigger story of the difficulties or delays or blocks or boundaries or that sense of an invisible wall that you can't get through. I am experiencing that right now in my Saturn return with Saturn in my 5th house of creativity, self-expression, romance, sex, fun, entertainment, hobbies, children, right? A very fun house. It's a more serious time with the Saturn return. But But Saturn's rulers, traditional rulers in astrology, are Aquarius and Capricorn, and that is placed in my 3rd house of travel and communication and my 4th house of home. Where is home? Where are my roots? Where is my sense of belonging? Where do I feel that sense of home? So that story connecting 5th house, 3rd house, and 4th house is the overarching story of my Saturn return. And it's wild to me. I was just telling a friend this morning how it's insane how literal this Saturn return is. I am forced out of the country where I live, right? Very 4th house, home, roots, all of that. While I'm sharing the journey and talking about it and teaching on this as I'm traveling, very 3rd house related. But I'm also blocked from my husband. Literally, I am being blocked. I am being barred from living with my husband in my country of France, where I've been living for the last 6 years. My visa will not renew because of a new French law, and I'm forced to travel. I'm forced to go to all these astrocartography lands, because if I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna at least like do something with it. I'm a big believer in intentional travel and traveling slowly with intention and deliberation and yeah, making something from it. If it was just to travel for the sake of travel and just having fun and leisure, I don't know. That's just not really my jam. I got Saturn in the 5th, you know? Let me make something from the experience, right? This is the situation I'm in, and it's difficult because my husband and I, you know, we've been together almost 9 years, going on 9 years now, right? Like, we are so solid. He's the best thing in my life, the most foundational, steadfast, constant, lovely, wonderful thing in my life. Our marriage is the rock of my life. It is the most solid foundational thing in my life. Aside from my spiritual faith, my belief, Jupiter on the ascendant, I have just such an extreme like view of like optimism and like belief in life and trust in life, right? So those two things are like the core things in my life that I have. And to be forced to be away from him long distance for who knows how long. He just applied for French citizenship in November. It could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now until he gets French citizenship. We've been paying taxes and moving and living all over France and getting different jobs and moving houses and packing up our bags and doing this whole thing for 5 going on 6 years now. We're tired of it. And now that he's applied for French citizenship, we now have an ability to do that. But now we have the added complication of me being forced out of the country, being away from my husband, and who knows how long it's going to take for this French citizenship to go through. And Saturn has taught me this. I'd rather get through the short-term pain than deal with the long-term suffering. I am thinking, what are the consequences if we give up now for short-term pleasure? What are the consequences of our actions now if we decide to not work for it? If we decide to not power through and continue doing and committing to what we said we would do. Okay, what else do I need to say? Guys, how cute is my Walt Disney mug? So cute. I am leaving France in a few weeks. I will be gone for who knows how long. I do not have a visa to come back into France. On a tourist visa, you have 90 days and then you have to leave for 90 days. So we're looking at 3-month increments where I won't be allowed back in France. So fingers crossed that something goes through. We've hired a lawyer. We've applied 4 times. We're going to apply again next week. So hopefully something works out and I'll keep you posted if it does. But at this point, I am basically forced to travel alone. So you guys may be wondering, where am I going next? What's the first stop? Where am I gonna base myself for this first month and a half? Well, I'll give you a little clue. Hollywood. I am going to LA, guys. And who knows if I'll like it. I love the beach. I love Southern California culture. I love California. It's my home in the United States. It's the place that feels most home for me, being a Southern California girl, growing up in San Diego. I mean, obviously, right? And if you guys are curious, I actually was born in Poway, grew up as a kid in Imperial Beach. When I was 13, 12, I moved to Oceanside in North San Diego County. So I'm really excited to head back, be there for Oceanside for a couple weeks. Then I'm gonna head to LA. I got an Airbnb for a month, see some friends, which I'm really excited to connect with people. I'm really excited. It's my first base. I don't know where I'm going next. I have some ideas, I have some options. I'm either gonna go up to Montana, Mount Shasta, and see some sacred sites, Or if I'm feeling courageous, guys, give me some courage if you can out there, I might be taking a 15-hour direct flight to Sydney, Australia, and living in Sydney and New Zealand for 3 months. It's interesting because I've always felt a call to venture to New Zealand and Australia, and I have some of my best astrocartography lines out there for the work that I want to be doing, and it's also the best timing. The transits that I have in that part of the world are really nice right now. Jupiter on my midheaven transiting my Sun midheaven and my Mercury midheaven. So if I want to write a book, or if I'm ready to really just start sharing and documenting in a more intentional level, I really want to see what it's like to live on these lines. This Sun MC, this Mercury MC, this Jupiter IC in Japan. I know it's a lot of places, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys with my whole itinerary. Transits are so good right now up until May of 2024. And so if I can get the courage to get on a flight for 15 hours, I will get to experience this Sun line and this Mercury line that I've always wanted to experience at the timing. And I'm going to be documenting it for you. But let's kick this off. The Saturn Return Diaries, Vlog 1. Stay tuned. I'm excited to vlog the experience, take you on the adventure as I travel endlessly to my astrocartography lines, writing about it, sharing about it, making a book about it, and documenting it for you guys to see and live through. I'm always learning things. I'm always experimenting and experiencing life fully, and then I learn a lot through the mistakes I make, and the failures I have, and the experiences that aren't so great, and I learn and take away a lot from it. All of those lessons to share with you, to inspire you, to expand you, to help you in any way on your own journey if you're going through your own Saturn return, or also just the little mistakes and mishaps I have. But I'm trusting that it's all going to be okay, and I trust and believe that everything's going to work out. It's all going to be magical at the end of this, and I'm going to have all these amazing stories to tell, and hopefully something that will help you in your own life as well. I'm right here cheering you on. I hope you have a magical day. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Ms. Helena Woods to keep updated on all of the real-time stories, Instagram stories, experiences I'm having as I'm traveling. If you'd like to learn more about how to predict your own Saturn return and things to look at in your own natal chart, be sure to hit my blog post. I have a blog post link down below in the description. A lot of links. We're putting a lot of links in the description, but I want to make sure you have all the resources you need to follow all the adventures as I continue making and sharing my journey. Here's the Saturn return. I did not think how literal it would be that this Saturn return would manifest in the way it has, but cheers to that. Let's see where this Saturn return takes me. I'll keep you guys posted. Keep me accountable with that Saturn-Mercury square, and I will see you in the next video as I get ready to head to California. I'm giving you the biggest hug and all of the encouragement, and I hope you have a magical day and happy travels. I'll see you in the next one.